Tori Ann Perky here, and from my homeschool to your homeschool, today I want to talk about screen time. Ooh, this is a tricky topic. How much screen time is too much screen time? I wish there was an easy answer, and it feels like every time I'm turning around, there's a different answer. And I have been wrestling personally with this question since my kids were little, and now they are teenagers. It seems like there is never a good answer to how much screen time is too much screen time. So if you have struggled with this like I have, today I have just 3 simple answers. 3 questions you can ask yourself to determine whether or not your kids are getting too much screen time. Now, before we get into that, I just want to remind you that this is a debate that's been raging for a long time. Long before computers, long before phones, but the question is getting harder and harder to answer because the amount of screen time that's available and readily accessible continues to grow and grow and grow until it feels like a parent that you just have no way of knowing, how do I figure this out? The articles in the media, I'm reading study after study. One study will say, this is why screen time is so bad, or this is why we need to be worried about this. And then the next one will come back and they'll say, no, actually that study was done incorrectly. This is the one we should pay attention to. So my goal today is to give you principles that you can apply regardless of the noise as people, as scientists and people out there are debating how much screen time is too much screen time. Because the answer to that seems to be constantly changing everywhere else. So here is the first question to ask yourself, and this is the first sign if you can't give a good answer to this question. When they get off, what is their behavior like? So if your kid has been doing screens, whether it's a little bit or a lot, what is their behavior like? Do they get off with a cheerful attitude? Are they pleasant? Are they willing to then engage in other things, or do they whine, complain, get angry? Maybe they're rude to you, disrespectful. If you're seeing consistent negative behavior when your child gets off, even if it's not immediate, like in the next little while, that's a sign that for them, the screens are too much. Whatever amount there is. And this is not about what scientists say. This is how your child reacts. And it's important to remember every kid's brain is going to react differently to screens, just like every adult's brain reacts differently to screens. It just impacts our brains differently. And so your child is going to be telling you by their behavior whether or not they've had too much. And that might be cumulative, that might be a one-time episode, but if you're seeing lots of negative behavior, that means that the screen time, however much it was too much for them. Okay, second question. Question to ask yourself, what am I noticing? And again, it's going to lead to a sign. Is my child being creative? Or do they lack creativity, particularly creativity that I used to see? So children, little children, will naturally be very, very creative. And as they get older, that creativity tends to start moving to different directions. But everyone is naturally creative, and your children are no exception. So if they get off screens, or it's a day, and they say, oh, I could do this, or I could watch screens, then you know it's probably okay. But if all they think about is their screen time, if all they think about is getting on the screen to do the next thing, then maybe there is a problem. If it's consuming their thoughts, if they seem obsessed, if they don't seem to be able to come up with anything else to do, they wander around bored and there's nothing in their world, they're getting too much screen time. If you dial it back, what you'll start to see, particularly if you do a detox period, what you'll start to see is they will start to be creative again. They'll start to discover other things to do because the brain doesn't want to just be empty. The brain wants to do something. So it will start to find other things to do because it's not doing screens. Okay, so with this, I want to put in a little tiny caveat. Sometimes, particularly as your children get older, their creativity is on screens. So they are using digital art. They might be doing something with video. They might be designing a game. This gets a little bit trickier because they are being creative, but they're being creative on the screen. So it still applies, but you want to be careful. If they're obsessed, about watching recreational screens, and recreational or consuming screens is where they're just passively taking it in. That's one thing. If they are being productive and they want to actually accomplish something and they're looking towards a goal and they're making things happen, well, that's a little bit more on the creativity side. And then you're going to be looking for these other two signs that I'm giving you, the one I've already given you and the one I'm about to talk to. Does this productivity actually lead to positive results or negative results? So just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so third sign. What is the third thing that you can be looking for? The third question you can be asking yourself to determine, is my kid getting too much screen time? And the third one is, are they prioritizing screens over relationships? This is when you look at how do they treat their siblings, particularly if they have to share or if a sibling gets in the way of something they're doing on the screen time. How do they handle when someone tries to talk to them and they have to disengage from the screen in long enough to have that conversation? Do they have a positive attitude? Are they willing to stop what they're doing in order to have that face-to-face conversation? Or are they consistently, again, grumpy, frustrated, or they just go in the zone and they completely ignore everyone around them and then almost feel angry when you pull them out? If that's the case, probably too much screen time. But if they have a good attitude, if they're willing to share, if the screen is actually becoming a cooperative, collaborative experience where everyone's gathered around watching the latest, YouTube clip that's making everyone laugh, then maybe the screen time is doing good things too. And only you can figure that out. So, 3 questions, quick recap. Behavior when they get off. How are they behaving? Question, are they being creative? And the side note there, are they being productive? Are they producing good things and putting good things into the world? And the third one is, how are they prioritizing their relationships? How do they treat the people around them? If you can answer that those 3 things are going well, then you probably are doing okay with how much screen time you're providing. Now, this is the part that gets a little tricky, and I have to do this self-assessment. How are you doing on these 3 questions? If you're kind of grumpy when someone interrupts you or you have to get off, if maybe you can't think of anything else to do except scroll social media and check out the latest feed, and maybe sometimes you find yourself completely ignoring the people in your world because you're in your own little world, then maybe, just maybe, you have too much screen time. And that is a subject for a whole nother video. Just wanted to put out there. Now, don't forget, I have actually, I didn't tell you about this yet. One of the ways that you can also figure out how much screen time you want to have in your family is to create a vision for you, your family, and your homeschool. Vision is super, super important. It's how you dig in and successfully figure out what it is you want your homeschool to look like. And I have a free class a free training that you can listen to. It'll walk you through how to do that. You just click the link below and check that out. It's totally free. It'll help you set your vision, which is one of the steps that helps you figure out how much screen time you want to have. I'm Tori Ann Perky, and I make these videos about all kinds of homeschool topics to help you be a successful and confident homeschool mom.